Do you or our loved ones still believe our government will save us and our dying planet? Well, don't. I just came back from COP16 and I'm gonna tell you why it was a shit show. For those of you that don't know what COP16 is, it is a United Nations conference where world leaders gather together to decide on how to protect biodiversity. That sounds amazing, right? But wait till you actually hear what goes on during these conferences. I'm Sydney and I work with the Arhuaco, which is a tribe here in Colombia. When we met with the president a couple months ago, he invited one of the Arhuaco leaders to speak at COP. My friend Tiam and leader of Sun Nation also got invited to COP. Now, me and Vivo didn't even think about going because you need an official invite to get into COP, but we learned that they, for the first time, had a green zone, which is a space that they opened up to the public so that people can also come and be a part of the event. When me and Vivo learned this, we immediately bought our ticket and went to Cali, Colombia the next day with the intention to connect with others that are on the same wave and spread the word about our project. We just arrived and we're going to a hostel.
We have arrived and are now working on putting together a flyer for to put the QR code that then leads to a website, a landing page where we share the bios of the team so people can reach out to us for collaboration, for funding, and yeah, so that we can share what we have to offer and find the people that we need to connect with.
On the first full day, of course, we started off with a good breakfast, and then we went to go get our flyers and stickers printed, which was a whole mission, because there was hella traffic, as there is a lot of people in town for COP. Like, all the hotels and hostels in town were booked out type shit. A lot of the roads were closed for the green zone, so we decided to walk everywhere. Buildings, the telephone poles, everything's concrete.
No trees.
We placed our order, but of course it was going to take a few hours, so we walked around the green zone checking some things out. We walked into some talks, past stands of regenerative projects, and seen displays and art with messages from species that went extinct over the last few hundred years, to community collaboration, to environmental destruction. It was so ironic to see litter still taking place during this event. Come on, guys. At COP16? Really? Have you guys not learned anything?
Oh my god!
So one of the talks that we walked into was a TikTok panel featuring top creators in Latin America that share content about the climate crisis and climate action. One of the things that stuck out to me was one of the creators was a marine biologist, and she says that she feels like the ocean is often left out of the conversation when it comes to climate action, and that needs to change because the ocean covers most of the planet and it actually does a lot more to regulate our climate and the carbon in the atmosphere than trees do. Earlier this year, I met some marine biologist friends when I was in Mexico, and they said the same thing. Phytoplankton, whose main food source is the waste of humpback whales, who are also endangered, absorbs carbon during its photosynthesis process, and the ocean itself takes carbon out of the atmosphere, and it does so by absorbing carbon into its surface water and bringing it down to the bottom of the ocean. And that's not to say that trees are not important or needed, because of course they are. More on all of that though when I share my Mexico trip video. We had to leave the panel early to pick up our flyers, and on the way we found an Angelita. On the way to the print shop, she talked to us about how 650 activists who were all protesting an upcoming gas project that was going to destroy the entire territory of the jaguar were all killed in 1 week right before COP in the region of Cali, and a total of 6,000 activists were killed since the beginning of this year. Now, we already know that activism is very hard work, but it is especially dangerous in South America and especially Colombia. When we got our order, we walked back posting stickers all along the way. The QR codes on the stickers and flyers take you to a new website I just threw together for this occasion, featuring our team. If you want to learn more about us, it's linked in the description, or you can visit thegamechangers.earth.
Guess how many website views we got just from posting our little stickers last night? Guess how many? Guess, tell us.
160.
And that was only with a few.
The next day, we went to a talk hosted by someone in our network who brought an indigenous leader from Brazil and also asked some of the Arhuaco leaders to come. They talked about different ways they may be able to get corporations involved choosing better practices by working to make saving nature more profitable rather than destroying it.
I've spent 3 years now at Davos. So we brought Kue last year and his daughter to Davos, and it was extraordinary to realize that the CEOs of these corporations, even the oil and gas companies, they're not any different from anyone else. They're not particularly evil. They're doing business as usual. They have a model that they follow, and they can't change it. They can't go and say, "Oh, we're going to just stop."
I accidentally cut the video, but for context, this next clip is her speaking as the gas company executive.
I can't see how to do it. There's just no way forward, and I'm really ashamed because I'm hearing this company's doing this one's doing this, and I know what we're doing is bullshit. We're saying we're doing stuff, but it's not real. And so what we have to do is present the solutions for these kinds of organizations because they have a real need to make this transition, not just greenwash, because their customers can hold them accountable. And so that's a swifter system often than a democratic change system, and we should do all of it.
Now, I don't know why I didn't start recording before. I definitely didn't get the whole talk, but there was a point during the talk that she was saying that they were planning on getting corporations like Coca-Cola and the like to buy into this plan.
What we talked about, some of these oil and gas executives, like, they're not actually evil. If you said, hey, go put all of this money into any good thing, as long as people are convinced that they'll get their money back, they'll generally do it. So if the markets say, we don't want to invest in natural gas investments, it doesn't matter. Because it says clean and green energy is more profitable, less risky, safer, etc. And by the way, it's something nice to tell my grandkids, or I can live with myself, so good for the conscience as well. So
by scaling up, by learning from the corporate systems, but using the indigenous approach of scaling for nature together, collaboration and harmony, we can have these solutions.
There's actually a lot more to this recording, so I'm going to upload it all as a separate video. Now, despite the point that some, and that is some, people are only destroying the planet because it's profitable and might change their practices if something better comes along, when it comes to the others, I do not buy the approach of coming up to the mega rich and corporations and asking them to please stop destroying our planet, because we've been doing that. Their systems and networks run very deep, and that is all they know. That is something that has been set up for them for generational wealth, and it is highly unlikely for them to give up so easily and just switch over to something else. And if it were to maybe work for some people, this is going to be a very long process, and truthfully, we only have 5 years to reverse the damage that has been done to this planet. We were really hungry after spending the whole day at this single panel. We ended up at this cute little cafe where we split some good food and tried like 3 different desserts. Honestly, we ate so much good food during this entire trip because we have zero access to food like this where we're currently living. After we finished, we posted flyers all over the streets and I conducted a mini interview for a little series I've been wanting to do. After our amazing breakfast and my coffee kombucha, we spent most of the last day posting up flyers. We had a lot to get out, and halfway through the day, we were already feeling wiped out from the weekend. Later, we came across this building that was covered in dope art, so of course we had to go inside. The story goes that it was Cali's first ever printing press that in more recent years almost went out of business. To stay afloat, they started collabing with local artists and began turning out dope, colorful art. Some being art for local brands, and a lot of it being political messages. Then we ended the day with ice cream with the Arhuacos, which honestly they shouldn't have been given. When we finally got back home, we opened the door to reveal our babies and seen that they had gotten so big in just a few days. Mr. Gato now knew how to jump and had stretched out, and Missy was just huge. A week later, Kelsey and Tiam returned home, so now we get to hear how it went from the inside.
Okay, so Tiam,
you were on the inside of the conference. What was your experience with that?
The majority of what I witnessed was a lot of disorganization and squabbling, like little skirmishing, little fights on wording, because each country has like their own interest of what they want to try to change and what they don't want to change in the way that they operate, which seems super disorganized. And we got like 3 paragraphs in, and then one country was like, I don't agree with any of that. We have to go back to the first paragraph. And then everybody's like, oh my gosh, we got to go back to the first paragraph. And the chair's like, okay, this is the United Nations. Come on, we need to move faster. We need to go through this thing. It needs to be better. Like, let's go.
And what do you feel like could be done better with that?
Ooh, a lot. There was a lot. I wrote a bunch of things down. It's like a consulting company that needs to come in and be like, all right, we're making you guys a system. Yeah. There's no communication, like technological communication between what needs to happen in the document that they're working on, and the best method that they have is they put something in brackets in a shared document if they don't agree on it, so it gets left in brackets. But like with some form of elegant what's it called when you work co-working, collaborative software, you could easily just like take the paragraph out, make each country can have their delegate write what they want, and then they can vote on it. There's no voting. The voting is like, does anybody disagree? And then if people disagree, then they have to talk about it, right? So there's no, like, it's super slow, crazy slow. And the countries have to, word by word, in the second language, say their suggestion. And in English, it's really important to pause in a certain way when you're speaking in order for the real message to get across. So you have some person speaking the second language, like really butchered, putting a technical sentence together to try to explain what their idea is. And then so they say it, and everybody's kind of like, and the chair says, could you say that one more time? And then they say it one more time. And then it's like, okay, but it's super technical, right? So then it's still, even if you say it twice, it's like, so what's the real thing you're trying to say there?
They don't have translators?
They do, but it's in like this little headphone thing, and you have to go to a different channel. And yeah, they're speaking English. Most people are speaking English. Most people aren't even participating, to be honest. There was like 4 or 5 countries that were like actually participating. Mostly Russia and the European Union. And then Zimbabwe's in the back, like protecting the whole planet basically. They're like, fuck no, that's not good. And everybody else is just kind of like, totally, hundreds of people.
Uninterested.
Yeah, and even, I don't even know what they're doing there. There's like 3 people per country. I also learned that the United Nations they don't do anything. They were very adamant about that as I was trying to ask probing questions. I'm like, well, we're just a consulting company. We're just the people that are doing the consulting.
Wait, this is United Nations thing?
Yeah.
What?
And I was like, wait, what do you
I
mean?
didn't even know that they were considered a company.
Yeah. So this body, the United Nations, which is just a consulting company, one part of their company, which is, they said every single group is its own company, and they have their own leaders. It's decentralized, which is good, right? This is what they told me. It's good, right? And I was like,
That's just buzzwords.
God, no, it's not good when you don't have a freaking direction that you're going in. That company is competing against that company, and you guys have access to the same funds. Like, you're competing against each other. You're destroying the planet as a developing company in a developing nation, and on this side, you're trying to conserve it? Doesn't work. So I was like, so where's the council? Do you have a council that like at least takes all of these decentralized nodes and puts them in some... No, of course. What do you mean? What do you mean? It's like, what do you mean? What do you mean? You don't have protocols? The United Nations doesn't have a protocol for this kind of stuff? And she was kind of like, eventually, I didn't want to get too testy and like, you know, insult her. So I was like, okay.
Do you feel like anything came out of this? Like any goals or clear direction and steps to move forward? Like, do you have any hope coming out of this conference?
From the United Nations? No. Not at all. Not even a little bit, unfortunately. I would really love to be like, yes, of course, we're gonna figure out how to work with them. But there was like no avenue to have actual impact. Currently, from what the globe is talking about and what is put there, it seems that the money gets collected, it gets distributed. No one really knows how it gets distributed. There's not a good tracking system. The one system that's in charge, but unofficially in charge, of keeping track of the finances that the countries have put into this global finance fund puts out reports 2 years after the year of putting the money in. So they have this meeting that we went to, the COP16. They have that every 2 years. So there's a 2-year delay to understand even what was done with the money. And it's not even official. People don't even know. So it's totally disorganized. There's like some amount of money going into something, and all of the NGOs are basically complaining that there's not enough money, it's not getting given out the right way, and there's no organization because they're just a consulting company with no leadership, whatever the thing is. So
in conclusion, we came back from COP feeling very inspired, not because these world leaders are doing anything useful, but they're doing so bad with trying to get anything done that we know between us, our network, and the future dope people that we're going to make connections with, we're going to get so much done, and we're actually going to help the earth and make the world a more enjoyable place to live in. And we could do it for a fraction of the cost, because what are they even doing with the money now? If you watched this video previously hopeful that our world leaders are doing anything useful to help our planet, I'm not here to burst your bubble. I am also here to deliver the message that it's about time we start saving ourselves. We have to stop giving our power away to whoever's job we think it is to save our world, because honestly, it is our job to save the world around us. We need to all start taking responsibility to contribute to the communities that we're in. It is also my job to bring some motherfucking hope, because I have complete faith that things are going to turn around. We are going to be good. No matter how dark it gets, the sun always gotta rise. So just remember that. We are gonna be good. Just join the movement. And yes, I say movement. There are a ton of people out there that are doing real work, unlike our leaders. The media and algorithm just won't show you that, but I will. Subscribe for more hope content, and I'll see you in the next one.